Is poor posture really that bad? Hey guys, I'm Dr. Kresimir, chiropractor from London, Ontario, Canada, helping people get well through the power of structural chiropractic care and life by design principles. And on today's video, like I said, is poor posture really that bad? So posture, or poor posture, is a topic that thankfully has been gaining a lot of curiosity, a lot of discussion, and a lot of attention lately. I'm speaking, I think most of it comes from, looking at your device or being on your device and being in this position like this most of the day. And of course, sometimes that can cause or contribute to things like neck pain, and other things. And I wanted to give you an in-depth analysis as to why poor posture really can lead to poor health long-term, and not just poor health. And again, I'm not Nostradamus. I can't predict the future. I don't know exactly what's going to happen to anybody. However, I've seen it clinically happen enough times over a long enough period of time to know that bad posture is bad. It can be really bad. And it's something that we should, and that's what I'll be talking about moving forward, that's something that we should be concerning ourselves, not just with ourselves, but if we have young kids at home who spend any reasonable amount of time gaming or on mobile devices. So I'm gonna be showing you some real examples of how this progresses and how this looks on the inside. But the first thing that we need to understand is that this is something that is progressive. We don't go from a upright posture to a fully degenerated spine and nerve system. It's a, what's the word that I'm looking for here? It's a continuum. We're either headed into the good direction or we're headed into the wrong direction. So the first thing to pay attention to, there's really two reasons that make poor posture really bad. And the first one is the cosmetic reasons. If you spend enough time in this position, your body likes to adapt. So meaning your body will always adapt into the environment that you put it in. So if this is your environment, what can start to happen is we can get that, it's called a Dowager's hump, which is the collapsing of proper structure. Because what your body will do, if you spend time in this position, it'll signal to this area of your spine that it's unstable, that it's weak, and to your body, your head literally feels like it's going to fall off. So your body starts to send tissues there. By tissue, I mean fat, more skin, and that's where that hump develops. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. That starts to happen with the accumulation of time in that position. And unfortunately, it is extremely hard to get out of that position once you have it. And it's really hard for that fat pad to start to clear up once it's been laid. And now the other problem that starts to happen is much more insidious and much more serious. It's the collapsing of the structure on the inside. Because what will happen is, so if you're looking at my spine, or if you're looking at a healthy spine, from front to back, there should be no curves. Your spine should be straight up and down, all the vertebrae should be stacked. If we're looking from the side, there should be 4 curves. There should be a curve in your neck. This is just general understanding, so you get the picture. There should be a curve in your neck, a curve in your thoracic spine, an opposite curve in your lumbar spine, and then an opposite curve in the sacrum. So you can really look at the spine like 4 curves. Every curve should be approximately 40 degrees. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, on the screen down here at the bottom, I'm gonna slide over here, and I'm going to show you what a normal, healthy cervical, so neck x-ray from the side looks like. And again, what you can see in that video, or what you can see in that picture, and what I want you to pay attention to is, like I said, the healthy curve in that direction. So it's approximately 40 degrees. All of the vertebrae are very, very clear. You can see them, they look like white boxes, and the spaces in between are the discs. And you can see the discs are big. You can see that the parts, they look like little tails at the back of the vertebrae, are evenly spaced throughout. That's a healthy That's a healthy cervical spine from the side. Now, what starts to happen, the more time you spend in that forward head technology position, what starts to happen is it puts, again, you're creating a different environment. So your spine has to adapt now to that environment. So instead of being upright with your head back over your shoulders, it's going forward. The first sign, and what starts to happen first, before we get to that massive degeneration, is you'll see it up there. So there's actually two pictures up there right now that I want you to pay attention to, and they're both the same. And here's where things get super interesting. This is from a chiropractic researcher back in the day. This is not a new phenomenon for humans, but what he wanted to look at is he took cadavers and then he x-rayed their necks, and then he performed an autopsy to actually see what was happening at the spinal cord with a radiograph or an x-ray that looked like that. So the first one that I'm showing you is clearly from a younger person, and the reason you can tell that is because the discs are still, there's still some space in the discs, but what I want you to notice is how flat the curve is. And then in the actual picture of the anatomy, what I want you to start to pay attention to is the bulges and the actual physical pressure that's happening on the spinal cord itself. So that would be, if you were to take that or have an MRI, that would be called a bulging disc or a disc protrusion. And the concern with that, especially in the neck, remember, every nerve that you have in your whole body, every nerve that innervates everything from, the top of your neck all the way down to your toes, they all start in the brain, and they all have to pass through the spinal cord to get to the bottom of your body. Now, if you're having disc herniations and protrusions, it can be messing or interfering with those signals that are passing through. And now what I want you to do is I'm gonna remove those two photos, and I'm gonna show you the one that's more progressive. So you'll notice now, not only is the curve a lot straighter, but there's also the wearing of the discs is starting to happen, and there's an area where the curve is starting to look reversed. So now we're starting to see bone spurring, arthritic changes, and more deep, widespread degenerative change starting to happen. And when you look at the anatomical picture, you'll notice that there is much more pressure on the curve. And again, the idea is, once we're starting to put pressure on the curve, it's not only a bulge and it looks unattractive, it's starting to compromise your health, your integrity, and now we're getting a weakening or a collapse of the structure moving forward. Those are potentially, it doesn't necessarily have to be causing you symptoms, but it's not good for you. So now what can you do? If you're stuck in this place, or if you're noticing that you are headed in the wrong direction, I want to spend a little bit of time. This is definitely a topic for another video. I'm sure I have some exercises that I can link to. If they're up here. But what I want you to understand, that if this is something that you are concerned with or that has been brought to your attention recently, the most important thing when you are going in the wrong direction, or when you're digging a hole where you shouldn't have been digging a hole, is to stop moving in the wrong direction or stop digging the ditch in the wrong place. So the first thing that you can simply do is to stop doing the things that got you here in the first place. So come up with another strategy. It's almost classic that when I record a video, there is going to be emergency services coming by. I'm not annoyed, I feel bad for you. I hope wherever they're going, they're able to get there in time. But the first thing, like I was saying, the first thing that has to happen is stop doing the things that got you here in the first place. So come up with another strategy for how you're gonna use your phone. If you're working a desk job and you're forced to work your desk job, get an ergonomic assessment done. See if you can get a standing desk, if you can work that way, or just get up and get your spine moving. The next thing you can do is you can start focusing on strengthening the muscles of the spine. So things like pull-ups and rows and anything where you're strengthening, or deadlifts, anything where you're strengthening the posterior chain, and work on getting these muscles massaged or stretched. And the last thing that I wanted to leave you with, that structural chiropractic care is excellent for, is you want the motion in your spine to start to return. What ends up happening if your structure gets bad enough, like if you have bad posture and you're in this position and somebody says straighten up, you can straighten up. It's not that challenging. Once you start to look like that last patient that I showed you, straightening up becomes next to impossible because things are so broken and degenerated. It's impossible for your body to get back into that position. The way that structural chiropractic, so that's the style of chiropractic that we practice here, the way that structural chiropractic helps is step number one is to begin helping those vertebral segments that are degenerated and broken, help them to start to regain their normal range of motion. Once the normal range of motion starts to come back and you're actually able to move them a little bit better, that will already start to help the spinal cord and the nerve system throughout that area, but we can build from there. If it's not moving and it's stuck, it's really challenging to restore normal function. But if we can get it moving again, we can take some of the pressure off of those segments. It's much easier to restore normal function. I know that was a lot of information I dumped on you today. If you have any comments or questions, please post them below. I would love to answer them. Hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.